Hello, everyone. This is Nora Armani, and we are on the sixth, I believe, of our 10 Meet the Filmmakers broadcasts live, which are broadcast simultaneously on our YouTube channel and as well as on the festival's Facebook page. We have three films today, and we are going to meet the filmmakers and actor and involved personalities behind those three films. So, this is a fantastic opportunity for me to also tell you a little bit about the festival. The Socially Relevant Film Festival is now 13 years old. The idea came to me 13 years ago because I was seeing too much violence on screen and off, of course. As we know, the world has become such a violent place. Every day there are new news of violence and conflicts and wars that are erupting, which is really, really sad. Instead of focusing on human interest stories and telling things the way they are about human beings and not about wars and despotism. So this is the 13th edition. And so far, we've screened 800 films from 40 countries. And I'm very happy to say that even though all of us work as volunteers, the major benefit that we reap from doing this film festival is the fact that we learn so much. I personally can say that just watching these films, selecting these wonderful films, I have become so much more educated about what goes on in the world and about the pressing issues of our times. The festival initially started as a movement, or I should say, as a, how can I put it, as a revolt, I want to say, against violence and violent forms of filmmaking. By violent forms of filmmaking, what I mean is films that are full of explosions and gunfights and all sorts of special effects that do not make our lives any better than they are. So I wanted to form this festival and offer an alternative form of entertainment. But also there was another reason. A personal tragedy triggered that, and I unfortunately lost the dearest two people for me, namely my cousin and my uncle, in a horrible hate crime. And to commemorate them in a meaningful way and to celebrate films that don't deal with violence, but talk about the human condition as a whole and focus on problems of our times, this festival was born. Thank you all to the filmmakers, especially, who trust their babies, their films to us, because without filmmakers, without films, there is no film festival. And of course, sponsors, partners, jury members, the team, everyone is due thanks. Without further ado, let me bring on the wonderful filmmakers that are with us today in the studio. There we go. And maybe we'll take turns, and I'll go anti-clockwise this time and talk to Sarah first. If everybody can quickly introduce themselves, say who they are and what film they are involved in and what the film is about, very briefly, and then we'll come back and go more in depth to those films. Sarah.
Thank you, Nora. Thank you for such a beautiful introduction to the festival. And I'm so honored to get to be part of this really meaningful event. My name is Sarah Gross. I am based in Berlin. Right now I'm calling from San Francisco and can't wait to be in New York in just a few days. My film is called Grains of Sand, and it's a documentary about friendship and creativity between two women in the process of aging. So yeah, it's a long, slow film, a women's coming of age film, let's say.
Yes, and Stephen.
Hello. My name is Stephen McKinley Henderson, and my film is I am a co-producer with my dear friend Steven Rosenthal of It Is Up to us, a film that we hope will be a tool in discussing and moving forward with racial and inequity issues in America, and that's it. We love it to be a useful tool in the progress in our country at this time.
Yes, it's so important. Look, we're talking already, and we're dealing with age and ageism and race and racism, and it's like so important to shine the spotlight on these issues and talk about them. Rax.
Oh, yes. Hello, I am Rax Rinnekangas from Helsinki. My film is titled The Last Wish, and it's simply said, it's about during the Russian invasion to Ukraine, a Spanish actor is sentenced to a monastery, to a remote monastery, to read there 3 times every page of a 1,000-page novel of Dostoevsky, The Brothers of Karamazov.
Yes, this is really an intriguing story, and we are going to see it unfold. Stephen.
Steve Rosenthal, fortunate to be a producing partner with Stephen McKinley Henderson. And actually, I was supposed to be shooting a Ukrainian festival today. So Rax, there's some synergy there. And also, I've seen the trailers for both Sarah and Rax's pieces, and I can't wait to see the whole thing during the festival.
Yeah, this is another opportunity for filmmakers to get to know each other's work. And I really take special pride in that, because the festival becomes a platform where filmmakers get to meet each other and possibly collaborate. And one of such collaborations today, we have Rax with his film, The Last Wish. And I must announce at this point that I act in that film. And the reason why I'm in that film is because Rax was one of the filmmakers in our festival in 2022. And that's how we got to meet each other. And it is an amazing collaboration. And I'm so happy and so honored and to be part of his films. Since then, we did another film, which is right now in distribution. And I am so happy and honored. And so I can say that all the effort and energy I put into the festival wasn't for nothing. So there we go. This is an amazing group here. We have 1 narrative feature and 2 documentary films, and they're all dealing with issues that are very important in our times. So maybe the next question, and we don't have to go in a row again. Everybody, whoever wants to jump in can. The next question is, how did the idea of this film come to you, and why did you think this was an important story to tell and to share with the audience? Who wants to go first?
I'm happy to go if nobody's jumping on it. Give you a chance to think about what you want to say. And I can tell you that when 2 of the most important women in my life were about to turn 80, they were in the end of their 70s, I thought to myself, oh my God, this is the end of the road. Quick, I better make a film about it. That was my sort of filmmaker crisis mode clicking in. And so I started making a film with my mother and my mother-in-law, who are close friends and just incredibly important to me in my life, and both artists. They travel together, they work together. And over 8 years, we made this film of them really, as I said before, coming of age into their 9th decade. And we really didn't know how the journey would go, but it was actually a beautiful journey. And as I learned, as I guess you always learn when you're making a film, that turning 80 was just the beginning. And the funny thing is, now 10 years later, when I look back on those beginnings, I think how young they looked, and actually how young we all looked. And so that's a funny and lovely piece of this film that I'm so excited to share with you.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because we look back on our films and we go, oh my God, look how young I looked then. And I thought I was old. So that's how it goes, you know.
Exactly.
But it's good to be able to preserve a moment of one's history at any one given time. It's a privilege. So who else would like to answer this question? Rax?
No. Okay. I will tell you. This story in the monastery is based on a true events. 10 years ago, my friend, who was a theater director, was going to die, and in his deathbed, he made his last wish to me. He said that he will be tombed in a monastery of an Orthodox monastery to the how do you say? And he said that, I hope you come to the monastery and you read there the book of my life, Dostoevsky's Brothers of Karamazov. It's a 1,000-page book. Come there and read every day every page 3 times, and come every night to my tomb in the woods where I will be tombed, and come to tell me about the process. I did it. It took me 16 days. It was a nightmarish experience there, and after that I wrote a book about that. It was published in Finnish language 2019, and I felt that this is not enough. So I wrote a script during the COVID, and I understood that I cannot shoot the film in Finland, because in Finland we have only one monastery. It's Orthodox monastery, but it's not a real entire building. And I wanted to have it by architecturally. It is more a village with the wooden houses surrounding a church. Okay, but I have been living in northern Spain and the Basque Country since the 80s, many years. So one of my favorite places is the Benedictine monastery village of Santo Domingo de Silos in Castilla y León, about 300 kilometers from Madrid to the northwest. So I knew that is the place where I want to shoot it. So it became a Spanish co-production, and we filmed it in 2022. Yes, just when the invasion of Russia began, and the film. How could I describe? It's an old school film. It's a dramatic. What happens to a person who has to go to the deep silence to read Dostoevsky, and also comes out why his friend sent him there. There are many levels. Some people have said it's like a modern cousin of Tarkovsky's Andrei Rublev or Italian neorealistic movies, and etc. Simply said, it's like that.
Wow, this is really exciting because it's a personal life story that you took and put it into the screen. And the Dostoevsky novel is so important nowadays because I know you were telling me the background story, the architectural element is very important for you because Rax has done a lot of films, and one of his very important films is about the most important architectural houses in the world. He has chosen 5 houses, and that documentary is right now running at the Odi in Helsinki as a very important film on architecture. So he has very much, the visual is very strong and powerful with him. So that's why he had to be very choosy where this monastery was located. And I had the privilege of spending time in that town, Santo Domingo de Silos, which there isn't very much except a couple of bars, one restaurant, one shop, and the monastery. So it's the main thing in the monastery, and our little hotel, which was a beautiful, beautiful experience. So this film is on opening night. So all those filmmakers who are invited, of course, and Stephen, you're also invited. I don't know, are you based in New York? Can you come?
No, I'm in Buffalo, New York.
Oh, okay.
But we are in the winter, so
Yes, I
you know
know.
I shall see if the fates are kind. I'll be in town. I'll
Yes, if
come
it
in. Yeah.
works out, we will be so honored to have you with us as well.
And I would like to say my colleague Steven Rosenthal is the one to talk about the film extensively. But I did want to add that I also saw the trailers for the other 2 films and is very much moved by them. The books, Rax, you know, the value of the books, and when they take the books off the shelves and they begin to burn books and so on and so forth. And I know it's happening in our country right now where they're trying to take books off the shelves, not expose the children to things. And so we must be warned by that. And I would also say, Sarah, it was absolutely gorgeous just to watch those women work together in that way, to just, you know, feel. And the great playwright Athol Fugar has a play called Road to Mecca about an artist who, you know, goes into her later years and is a sculptor and so forth. So I was very, very much touched and moved by that. Now, as I say, I will let my colleague take the front on talking about the film.
Sure. Let's hear from you, Stephen.
Yeah, so much. Stephen and I are on the same page and often finish each other's thoughts. So that's fitting. I was going to say how much I love the cinematography in Rax's the trailer, and can't wait to see it. And I love working in black and white. So bravo. And Sarah, both my parents were artists. My dad a sculptor, and my mother multimedia arts. And she would have been 102 right now. So I can't wait to meet your mother and mother-in-law. The work on our documentary, It Is Up to Us, began in late 2020, which feels like about 2 centuries ago right now. Especially today, waking up and finding out that, in fact, the world seems to be at war again, and which means we need that much more the socially relevant film festival. But I had just finished reading a book that had just come out by Heather McGee called The Sum of Us, S-U-M of Us, and finished that and went, okay, I've been interested in how history affects the present for a very long time, and just knew that after reading that book, I had to work on something that would lead us as a country, if not more globally, in a more equitable direction. And worked we're so interconnected in things. And when you make a documentary, if you know how it's going to turn out, it's a piece of propaganda. So it's what does the documentary want to be? And it turns out that so many things were related in ways that some I knew at the beginning and some I didn't, and some that I'm still discovering. And I'd love to hear Steve talk about his wonderful, I knew that as a white old man, I could be culturally blind to some of the things that I was talking about, and very much wanted to have a filmmaker, ideally an historian or somebody of great wisdom, to join me. And Stephen was wonderful in doing that and really made a huge difference in the way that the film works.
Yes. I am sorry that I haven't had a chance to see even the trailers of your films, because we are editing a new film and we are working over long days, and in the evenings when I come home I just fall down. But I hope I can see your films now during the festival on online, if it's maybe
Yes, yes.
Nora will give me the links. So
Yeah, we have the online section starting
okay,
March
good.
16th.
Yeah. Yes.
And if not, some of the films are not running online. And if they're not and you want to see them, I can secretly send you the password and you can watch them.
I like to say to Sarah something about the aging. Maybe you know this old anecdote. I think there is a lot of truth that majority of the people die at the age of 27, but the funerals are taking place at 72.
I love it. I love it. And some people are born when they turn 80, I'm telling you.
Yes.
Both are true. Very
Yes.
nice. Very nice.
Yeah, it's important to remember that and see which category you fall in. We don't want to die at 27 and have a funeral at 72.
I just spoke 2 weeks ago in Zoom with my very close friend of Germany, Bernard Schlink, who is an author about aging. He's 84 and I'm 71, and we felt like wild cowboys, because we think that artists in every genre cannot be adult under 50 years old. They are teenagers. Yeah, like the Lakota. I know one Lakota Indian man, and he said that white man at the age of 48 has a chance to find an own philosophy. Not earlier.
Yeah, you have to live to be able to.
Before that, they are only shooting with the guns and killing people.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just, let me just throw one thing in, Nora, before we go on to the next thing, which is this, the perspective that we all have. Our society, and I don't need to tell you guys this, is so sort of youth-centered and mainstream and white-centric. And there's so many ways ableism, there's so many ways in which our view on the world is sort of skewed to the left. And we forget how much everybody, of course, sort of, or at least if they don't do it, I wish that they would, sees life from their point of view. So that, when I was 20, I thought that was normal. And now I'm 58. I think that's normal, and the women in the film are, 81, 82, and they think that's normal. And everybody else is, completely immature and hasn't, developed yet or whatever. And, a little healthy relativism, I think, is a good thing.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because there is something called ethnocentrism. So when so maybe there is something called ageocentrism as well. so the age you are, you think that's the most important one, and everything else doesn't matter. Yeah, whatever. The important thing is that artists are ageless. And we need to create, to live, and to thrive. And it doesn't matter what age you are in, as long as you are creating, you are young at heart and you have something to give to the world. So this is very, very important.
I tell you, I say two of my favorite quotes from the great Bob Dylan, that he not busy being born is busy dying, is one of them. And the other is when he says, I was so much older then, I'm younger than that now.
Wow, they are so beautiful. I want to frame these and hang them in front of my mirror, because every day I wake up and I go, oh my God, that wrinkle wasn't there yet. But with these quotes, I'm going to say, I don't care about this wrinkle because I have so much more inside.
As an old white man who's also a director of photography, I feel so bad for those young people that haven't developed any wrinkles of wisdom. That a wizened face is so much more beautiful than anything I can imagine.
Yeah. Wow, this is such an inspirational talk show. I am getting so much out of this. I have some comments here from someone called Nancy Baum. Great introductions, she says. And then, we who age are the fortunate ones. It's so true. Now, every birthday, I don't say, oh my God, I'm a year older. I say, wow, I made it so far. So.
Absolutely. And that feeling of gratitude, I mean, I think, that's the gift. And if you can see aging as an inspiration for yourself and for other people, it's really, you're gifting the world.
Yeah, it's very, very important. So, yeah.
I do have to add that the person who just called in is a world-class cellist. And in fact, she's the cellist in our documentary, It Is Up to Us. And we've been married for a number of years.
Oh, how cool. This is nice. Yeah. Nice collaboration. That's great. Well, everyone, the next question we have is, how did you come to the Socially Relevant Film Festival? What made you decide that maybe this is the festival I want to have my film at, or whatever drove you to us? Or how did you find us? We always like to know.
Well, I don't mind going again. I have a big mouth, so I'm happy to jump in and let you guys think about it. I've had my eye on the Socially Relevant Film Festival for a while. And I really wondered, ageism. I mean, this film is about a women's, as I said, it's a women's story of creativity and friendship. And is that a political film? Is a film about gracefully aging, is that political? So I really was curious if this could be included in socially relevant sort of catalog, and I'm thrilled that it was. For me, it's a great honor, and really also recognition of the struggle, and it is a struggle, and women who sort of are, especially women, but all of us who are aging older, have done some good aging so far, know that feeling of becoming somewhat invisible, somewhat marginalized through that process, and joining the ranks of many honorable marginalized people from other communities. But it's not necessarily seen and recognized as sort of a topic, like a political issue, I think, except for those people who are working in aging activism. So it's nice to have opportunities to share it with a wider community.
That's interesting that you're telling us about the political aspect. Yesterday, we had this conversation with the group of filmmakers that I was interviewing on our show, and we were talking about the political side. And the Socially Relevant Film Festival, although it's very political in a way, it's not necessarily hardcore politics. It's more about the social aspect of things, the social issues of things. And age and ageism is something that has concerned us quite a lot in the past. We've had a lot of films dealing with age, and we've even had a project at one point where we have put youngsters who were in a video lab, in a video after school video department, a video project or workshop, and paired them off with elderly people, inhabitants of our neighborhoods, as part of the MRHS, which is a NORC, naturally occurring retirement community. And they have interviewed, the youngsters have interviewed the elders and have made a 10-minute documentary out of their findings, which we have screened at the festival as a way of bridging the gap. And these youngsters were so happy because they discovered so many things. They asked them very important questions about the neighborhood, what it was like back then, and so on and so forth, and which was a very interesting experiment for us. And yeah, that's why we didn't call it the Social Justice Film Festival or the Human Rights Film Festival. There are film festivals that deal with these issues, but in our case, it's more wider, and it involves all sorts of social issues, which could be political or not in nature. It depends. I have another comment. Oh, Michael Claes, who is a member of our team and also on our board. Thank you all for sharing your thoughts and your films with the festival. Exactly. We cannot thank the filmmakers enough because, as I said, they spend their last dimes, their last efforts and energies, and they really have to believe in what they are doing because filmmaking is so difficult to start with. And I always say to my filmmakers that it's not about who wins and who doesn't win, because finishing a film in itself is being a winner. So you are already winners, that you came with a film and it has a meaningful story or a message and beautifully made, because we also pick good films. We don't just pick a film because it's dealing with a social issue. It has to have good cinematic and production values. So who wants to also tell us how they came to the Socially Relevant Film Festival?
I can tell it goes back to 2022 with my film titled Hospital Daughter's Mother. If I describe it shortly, it's a kind of film that could be done by Ingmar Bergman. It is also a black and white film. It's a story about what happens during 4 hours in an empty mental hospital. There is only one doctor, a psychiatrist, woman, and suddenly arrives her mother, who is an author, being absent for 36 years, living in the south of Europe. And this mental hospital exists in Helsinki, really, but it's now closed. So we had a chance to shoot the film there. And in fact, the shootings ended half an hour before the COVID was announced. So when I started to think about something for the film, I was checking what kind of festivals there might be among thousands of festivals, which are now like in every second village. I found the Social Relevant Film Festival and I read its philosophy, so it was easy choice to offer the film there, and it was accepted. So after that, I also went to New York. So after that, now with this, The Last Fish, it has been a very logic to offer and to see it there. Of course, there is Nora, whom I found there. At first, I found her eyes and and her way to exist. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. You're
No,
very
it's
kind.
$100.
Yeah, I've paid him. Yes,
You will. Yeah.
I'll get the bill later, right?
Okay. So it went this way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
true.
can I
Yeah.
say something very, very essential about the Last Wish film. Okay, it's a drama, but it's also a very therapeutic film. It's absolutely about how reading really opens the closed doors inside a person, and in this case he finds who he is in the story of Dostoevsky, who he is of the brothers, and where comes his trauma, and he has he has a chance for his private healing game, and it will start, and there will happen very, 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 very dramatic, exceptional things. But I don't want to destroy your uh, chance to meet them like a virgins if you are going to see the film. Yeah.
Yeah, it is really a special film. So that's all we can say about
It
it.
sounds amazing. I can't wait.
Yes.
I'm enthralled.
Yes. So we are very happy to have all these films. And Stephen, do you want to tell us how you came to the Socially Relevant Film Festival?
Yes. I've been a grant writer. I'm a musician by background, and one of the rules is never apply to something that doesn't sound like it was written for you. Our documentary is really about truth, facts, things that you can't argue with. If there's a video of politicians saying blatantly racist things in 1963, you can't argue that that didn't happen. And progressively, as we've worked on this for the past 5 years, it seems like the world is changing around us, that there are no facts anymore. There's alternative facts. And what we need is a grounding to understand what actually has gone on so that we can make better choices. And I'd love to have Steve Henderson talk about history and about, because that's really something that he's been so interested in, making sure that that's central.
Yeah, it's very important, because the question is, who writes history? And if we don't make these films to counteract that narrative of who writes history, then history can be written in any way they or whoever is writing it like, and then where is the truth in the middle of all this?
Yes, indeed. It's so crucially important. Legacy, passing on, making certain that that the people in recent memory, the people that to understand that this is not history. We're not talking about the history of civilization. We're talking about the history of humanity, and that we have to protect that. And I don't want to overstate it, but we really are at a tipping point here in our country as to whether we will allow authoritarianism to take over from humanity, a humanitarian approach. I really like to say that what's in the film is what we had to say, and let it speak for itself. I was fortunate enough to have an opportunity, and I was finishing work on a film called The Civil War, and I came home to Buffalo from Atlanta, and I was home with my wife when the Tops murders occurred at the grocery store there in a neighborhood that I knew quite well. And it struck close to home, especially because I was filming this movie, Alex Garland's movie, Civil War. And I needed to find a way to express how much I loved the city that my second home, Buffalo, and how much I absolutely just despise and deplore racism and bias and bigotry and inequity, and anywhere you find it in the world, where someone has placed themselves above a whole other group, any sort of that. So I got the opportunity because Steven Rosenthal asked me to take part in this with him. Another actor in town told him that I might be useful, and I'm glad he did. I thought I was just going to do some narration, and then we ended up doing a collaboration. And I'm quite proud of it, but I'm mostly proud that and honored that I got an opportunity in this time that we're in to be a part of something that wants to speak to reunification of civility and humanity in our country.
Yeah, that is so important. Unity and people respecting each other. That has gone. There is no respect for human life. There's no respect for human thought. There's no respect for anything. And it's just like, hell breaking loose type of situation. And we need to make our voices heard. And thank God there is this platform. In moments like this, I feel like the sleepless nights and all the energy and effort that I put into this for the past years and has already been meaningful. And these videos, hopefully somebody will see them at some point. The films will be able to be watched and enlighten people about the reality of the situation. So my next final question for anybody who wants to jump into it is, what is your next project? What are you working on? If you want to talk about it, fine. If you don't want to mention anything, you can say, well, I went shopping today and I bought a pair of new sneakers. Yes.
I'll actually not answer that question right away. You were talking about the power of truth and of what we can do now. And it seems like we're in a situation where all of us need to stand up for justice, for equality, for egalitarianism. And that's why we named the film It Is Up to Us. It is up to all of us. And we had a screening in Buffalo here a few weeks ago, and a woman asked, why did you choose that name? And I explained what we did, and she said, well, I'm a cantor, and one of the oldest hymns in 6,000 years old translates from the Hebrew into English as "It is up to us." So these are things that we've been dealing with as humanity for as old as history. So to answer the question about what we're working on now, there was a spinoff from our documentary about racism in this country, about urban renewal and undoing some of the evils of Robert Moses, who built all these expressways that are killing us. And so we're doing that.
That's a subject that is quite interesting as well. A few years ago, we showed a film about how those highways and the destruction of neighborhoods in Albany and all the towns has been, it's funny, every time somebody mentions a theme, I go, oh, we've shown that. We've shown that. And I'm like, wow, I should write a book about the 800 films we've screened so far. And it's quite impressive. I mean, not to give myself a pat on the shoulder, but I'm not alone. Of course, you can't do this by yourself. We have a team and people who view the films and help us select. But at the end of the day, we need to make an editorial choice. And this is maybe a moment that I should take and explain to some filmmakers out there who may be watching, because a lot of times when we make the final decision, we get a letter or two from one filmmaker or another who says, but how come my film didn't get selected? It is so socially relevant. I'm talking about what's going on right now. And I'm like, yes, but unfortunately, our festival is limited to 1 week and some online slots. That's it. I cannot show every single film that is pertinent and that I like and that is powerful, because it doesn't mean to say that we didn't select it because it's a bad film. It's just that our means are limited and we have to draw the line somewhere. And I don't like mismatched situations where like it's a jumble. It's like throw this in and throw that in. With the short films, for example, we always try to put them into thematic groupings. Like the themes this year are BIPOC films. The opening night 3 shorts are, one is about the Black experience, the second one is about Mexican immigrants, and the third one is about Native Americans. So it kind of gives that BIPOC feel. Then the second one, a second group is on March 10th. Actually, it's before that, as a preview, is on mental health. And then we move to the cinema and we tackle disability. And then we tackle family and home, and homelessness, of course, comes with it. And then the last one is race, religion, and exile. So I like to put the films in an editorial way, so that yesterday, for example, we had a makeup screening of our canceled February 23rd screening of the Black History Month series. We screened 4 films that kind of revisit the Black experience in different ways. The first one was more of a poetic experience and a staged production, including a therapy session all together in a very poetic way. The second one was about an experience including rap and poetry in Harvard with a Black student and his father who's pushing him towards being, and then there are also a group of parolees who are there working as the help on that special occasion. And it's all the clash and the intersection with these different classes. And then the third one was about sites, important sites having to do with the Black experience in Montgomery, Alabama, and Mississippi. And the fourth one was about a person who did so much in terms of helping Black women and offering an alternative form of incarceration, because it's like we know very well that there's a high percentage of incarceration in Black populations. So it was an interesting evening, and the audience saw that how the whole thing merges together and creates a full picture of a spectrum, not just one aspect or another aspect. So I like to think that the festival as a whole does that. So filmmakers out there, don't think because we didn't select your film that it's bad or that it's not socially relevant. It's just that our capacities are limited. And maybe on a future edition of the festival, we will be able to include it. So any more of the what's your next project theme?
I have the great fortune to be part of a Netflix series Ted Danson has with Mike Schur, wonderful producer and stage runner, called A Man on the Inside, and it's we in our third season, and I don't know when we'll start shooting, but that is coming up, and I'm very, very glad to be a part of it, because I'm in a retirement home there, and everything is in my key. It's easy to do. I'm at 77. I feel the same way, that I'm glad that I when I read a script, I know that I can't be running upstairs or jumping off a train or anything. So it's wonderful to be a part of something, and seniors, mainly with senior, actors that I've known through the decades and that. So that's a joy to be a part of.
Yeah, that's really cool. We'll look out for that and watch it when it's out. And more, Rax or Sarah?
Do you want to go, Rex?
No, please, you at first.
Okay. I just wanted to say that I love the title, It's Up to Us, and it struck me from the get-go, and it was so nice to hear you talk a little bit about it, Stephen, because it's just got this sort of this charge, so I can't wait to see your film. And I mentioned at the beginning, I live in Germany. I've lived there for 30 years, but I grew up in the States in a liberal humanist family. We were a multiracial family, and very much believing in sort of social progress and the movement forward of civil rights and all of that. That just seemed to me like a given, that we were slowly gaining ground, and that would be the new future reality. And we've seen this crumble, and rights erode. And so my next project is another personal project, and probably a long-term project, but coming back as an expat to the States and looking at the assumptions and images of my childhood, where we really thought we were sort of stepping into something new and positive, and looking at the great sort of divide and what's happened, and exploring that in a personal manner. So that's my next project.
Yes, I am. As I told, we are just now in editing process. We are making the first round of a film that might be understood best if I say it will be like a modern brother of The Mirror of Andrei Tarkovsky. So it's a kind of collage about, title is Time is More. Time concept is the philosophy that has been probably the most discussed and analyzed without the result. In our film, we are not concentrating to the time concept. We are concentrating what is the time itself, what she is thinking, why she is doing this and that to allow happen. I can mention a couple of dimensions from where we are taking materials. We are talking, for example, about the last minute of Adam and Eve in Eden. The last minute. Dante Alighieri has written in his literature that Adam and Eve spent only 7 hours in Eden, and that got me interested. Okay, 7 hours is a long time, but what the hell happened during the last minute? And also we go to Leon Trotsky's dream of the time machine, how he would like to stop the world for a moment, etc. So I don't want to tell you more, but it will be like a collage of how time as an independent, uncorrupted character is working. One motto is what has said American playwright Tennessee Williams when he said that time is the only distance between two locations. Let's wait. We will get it done in the end of this summer. Yeah.
Wow, that is so fascinating. And I think or Stephen, you said you already did, right?
I did, but I wanted to very short thought on documentary filmmaking versus narrative films. The narrative films I've done have taken from months to a year, maybe. But so much you turn on television news and it's always breaking news and what happened the last 2 minutes. And that working on a documentary with Steve for 5 years, a lot of that time was trying to distill things and see them from a perspective that you can't get when it's reporting right away. And so it's just a different sense. Another thought, Stephen is known as a brilliant actor, and actors, their art is to speak other people's words. But Steve is in our documentary a few minutes more than anyone else, and both the opening and closing that are not only things that he said, but that he wrote. And it really frames the whole documentary in a way that he's not just reading somebody else's lines. Those are the things that he said that I had hoped to say. And by the way, Steve's definition of success for our film, other than getting into socially relevant film festival, is, and I'm quoting two people now, the success is just finishing it. I think somebody named Steve and somebody named Nora said that today.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I think we have a few more minutes. If anybody wants to jump in and say whatever they feel like, last minute words, and before we go off
Well, Nora, I would like to say thank you for what you've done all these years, the 800 films, and for all those filmmakers. I mean, it's a wonderful thing that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. It coming from someone like you, I mean, from everyone, these words of thanks mean so much to me, so much, because at times now it's different, because after 13 years, like at the 10th year was, I think, the tilting, when I felt, okay, now we've got it. We know what we're doing. So it kind of becomes more streamlined, if you like. But every year is a new challenge. Every year I go, oh my God, what are we going to do? What films are going to show? And how is it going to be better than the year before? Or and so on. And then, of course, a calm sets in. And when you believe in what you're doing, that is the driving force, and you keep going. So thank you all for appreciating that.
I'd like to second that, just for briefly. Thank you for your words, Stephen, and also just the opportunity that we have to meet, even in this forum. I mean, I can't wait to meet you guys in person. Hopefully that will happen when we're all convening in New York. And the way you create a framework for the film so that it's sort of happening in a context where we get to have these interpersonal exchanges. And I know how much work that is, Nora. So thank you for that as well. I think that's really
I do take special time to do that, because I've been at festivals as a filmmaker myself, where I arrive there and I don't know my way around. I don't know where to go. I don't know who to talk to. Who is this person? Who is that person? And so on. And you feel so lost. And then by the time the whole thing is over and you go home and you go, oh, wait a minute, I didn't talk to so-and-so. I didn't talk to such and such. But at least this way, that's why with the emails that I also send out, sometimes they might get to be too long and filmmakers go, oh, there we go again, all this list of things to do. But then they are all for the good of the filmmakers, so that they get the proper promotion and get noticed and get to know about each other and of each other's work. And hopefully it pays off in the end.
Nora, forgive me for interrupting, but just an inside thing that I noticed 2 nights ago, I got an email from you, timestamped 1:52 a.m. And I read it the next morning and replied, and you replied back at maybe 8 o'clock in the morning. So hopefully you'll get some sleep sometime between now and when the festival is actually there.
That's Thank you so much for noticing that. Yes, during the festival weeks, it's around the clock. It's
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
no sleep time. But I also read somewhere that sleep deprivation uh, takes away brain cells. So I hope I don't get to be very gaga in a couple of years by not sleeping enough. And I'm like, what? Festival? Who? Where? When?
Okay.
Hopefully not. Okay, everyone, I'm going to go off stream now, but stay for a second.